People talk about how defense in sports doesn't draw as much, isn't as fun to watch. People need to show those people that game. That was an amazing defensive clinic, and honestly, not just by Carolina, Columbus played a very well defensive hockey game this game. It was back and forth, a lot of shots, goalies standing on their head. I don't know why people dislike goals goals where a lot or games where not a lot of offense happens. That doesn't make any sense to me. I for one love offensive opportunities in a hockey game. It's a lot of fun to watch, to just see the players come down and just to see the defenseman and the goalie work together to find a way to keep pucks out of the net, the breakouts, as long as the game's fast and it's not a neutral zone trap, defensive hockey can be a lot of fun to win, fun to won. Don't know what I was saying there. Haven't even watched Game of Thrones recently to talk about 1-1. But this was a great game to watch, very entertaining. And I gotta tell you, it was just, I think every player for Carolina stepped up this game. I think where Carolina struggled this game was for sure getting pucks to the net in terms of they were shooting, but a lot of their shots went wide more than recently. A great example of that in overtime was Jacob Slavens, who played a fantastic game. With Jacob Slavin's breakaway, he deflected it over. There were shots that went wide and everything, but not to take anything away from Merzlikins. Merzlikins played phenomenal for the Columbus Blue Jackets this game, but I think if Carolina gets more shots on net, they win this game in regulation. But honestly, Columbus is out of the race, so as long as we're winning those games, that's what matters. Columbus is not making the playoffs this year. And given how well they've played against Carolina a couple times this year, thank the Lord. Because Carolina this year, seems weird. They play better against teams that they're facing in the playoff race, with maybe the exception of Tampa Bay. But Florida, Nashville, I think Chicago, they've done very well against. Those teams, they're teams that are in the playoff hunt, though Chicago has dipped a little bit. They're playing better against them than they are teams like Detroit or Columbus this year. But say what you want about Columbus, their goaltending, their goaltending has a bright future there. I don't really like Columbus because they've played against Carolina 8 times in 56 games this year. But I don't really like Columbus, but their goalies are a lot of fun to watch play goal. What else would they be playing? But on to who for Carolina played well. I mean, Nedeljkovic just shut the door. I think Nedeljkovic is the starter. I'm going to say it. I think that is my final decision if I was Rod Brindamore. By the way, keep in mind, you should be glad I'm not a GM of hockey, but I'm just saying if I was in any management position, I would be campaigning for the starter goalie to be Nedeljkovic. I think he's earned it. He's been the most consistent goalie throughout the season. All of our insanely tight defensive games have been with him in net. Not to take anything away from Mrazek. Mrazek has played insanely well, and not to take anything away from Reimer. Reimer has played just a step below Mrazek. And I think last year Reimer was the starter for Carolina, in my opinion. At the end of the day, who I would have trusted more. This year it's a little different between the two, but Nedeljkovic is really finally starting to reach the potential this year that people had pegged him, and then they randomly wrote him off. It was like in half a year's time, he went from being the Calder to Nedeljkovic is a little bit of a bust. It's been half a year of development. Come on. But now it's it looks like he's reaching. I'm knocking on wood for this because I'm not going to be blamed for jinxing this one. But it looks like he's developing into the player that people want him to, which is just unbelievable. I thought Hakanpää stood out a little bit this game. And, it's really tough on who to give Hurricane of the Game to. This was a 2-horse race. I've already mentioned their names for standing out. And I'll give a shout out to Carolina's first line. Oh, another great thing before I get into Hurricane of the Game, because none of these guys won Hurricane of the Game. Toivo Teravainen getting an amazing 1T goal. Unbelievable. I think the addition of Toivo Teravainen on that first line is waking up Aho and Svechnikov on even strength. On the power play, that's where they've been getting their points, and that's great that they're getting points on the power play. But in terms of just 5-on-5, I think they've underperformed a little bit, not a lot, but I think having Teravainen back on that line helps tremendously. But none of those guys won Hurricane of the game, and I think this is probably what's going to happen just based on my assumptions and who I've been given Hurricane of the game to. But it really came down to Nedeljkovic and Jacob Slavin, because those two guys for me carried the workload on the team. I did call out Jacob Slavin for deflecting the puck over the net, and what makes it harder was the fact that he deflected the puck over the net, and Nedeljkovic, the goaltender, pulls a Brodeur and gets an assist on the game-winning goal. But then we're not in overtime if Jacob Slavin doesn't make a fantastic save. It was almost like they wanted to do a role reversal, so the role reversals kind of cancel out, and it's very hard to judge players versus goalies in general. Like I could see someone arguing Dominic Hasek was maybe a better hockey player than Wayne Gretzky. I don't think they'd win that argument, but I could see them arguing that, and it would be a legitimate question to bring up. But yeah, Gretzky's the best hockey player of all time. God, now someone's gonna. I don't get enough attention. I can say whatever I want on here, but yeah, I got to give it to Jacob Slavin. It's his birthday, and now it's not just because it was his birthday. But, I mean, he just played such consistent defense, and that's what I like about Slavin. Like, he's just, like, I sound like a broken record when I talk about Jacob Slavin, but he's just the most solid defenseman in Hurricanes history to me since I've been able to watch hockey closely. I mean, you could argue maybe Glenn Wesley or Brett Hedican. I think Brett Hedican was more closer to what Brett Pesce is now, but I wasn't old enough to really follow hockey in terms of I'd watch the games. I'd be like, oh, this team won, or oh, this team won. But I didn't know enough about hockey. But since I've been watching hockey regularly, I think Jacob Slavin is the most defensive, like just pure defenseman I've seen. So, I mean, every time I talk about him, I'm just going to praise him up the wazoo for that. And it really makes me wish Nicholas Lidstrom was playing today instead of I think he retired in 2011 because I wasn't old enough to be able to follow. I think 2012 was when I was able to actually understand how a team is winning in hockey. But that was a ramble. I don't know why I rambled on that for as long as I did. But, that was a great game. So, Carolina comes out to get the 2 points. And before I go, I'll close off with the President's Hunt, where I'll just kind of run you guys down and pretend that you guys can't just look this up on your own. But, I figured we're getting close, and that's one thing this franchise has never done. So, in the league, Vegas is 1 point behind. Florida is now 2 points behind, though Carolina has 2 games at hand. Vegas is 1 point behind with a game at hand. So Vegas, I think, is the team we're going to have to compete with. And then Tampa Bay, I wouldn't say they've fallen out of it, but Tampa Bay is now, great time to drop your phone, Jonathan, is now 2 games behind, or 4 points, as well as Toronto 4 points behind, and then Pittsburgh 4 points behind, but they've played an extra game. So, and then Colorado is in the race as well. So those set teams, and then you can maybe argue Washington, but I think Washington is just a step out of that race. But yeah, so there is your President's Trophy Hunt watch. Just here to summarize everything for you guys at the end of the video. Now, that's it. I'll see you guys Monday. I might actually do something Sunday if I have time, but that's only if I have time. I might do something fun, non-review related. But if I don't have time to do that, then I'll see you guys Monday night. And look at me, I'm starting to upload videos the night of. Way to go, Jonathan, doing the bare minimum here. But I'll see you guys on either Monday night or Sunday night. And if you guys like the content I'm producing on the channel, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you guys want to be notified when I do upload a Hurricane review so you can get my thoughts on the game, click the bell. If you guys want to help build a Hurricanes community here on YouTube, don't forget to share the video and comment down below. What did you guys think about the game? What are you guys? Do you guys believe in the President's Trophy curse? Since we're approaching closeness to the President's Trophy, do you guys believe in it? Do you want Carolina just to avoid winning it just because of that curse? And comment that down below, and I'll see you guys Monday for a game versus Chicago.